guys, welcome to the first and hopefully first of many Mach 1 hood gun reviews. First gun I am going to do is my SAIGA 223. This was recently acquired, I'm going to say about 3 days ago now. It's basically a watered down version of a Kalashnikov AK-47. A couple of things have gone into the SAIGA to basically make it a little bit more of a hunting carbine and less of a quote-unquote assault rifle. So this gun actually shoots a .223 caliber, which are these little guys right here, most commonly found in your AR-15 style of firearms. This is a PMAG out of one of my AR-15s with some of the steel-cased Herders / Tula / Wolf ammunition. But it does shoot the smaller .223 caliber, a little bit better on velocity, trajectory, etc. A little less punch than a 7.62, but I figured if I was going to be, picking up a SAIGA, first of all, kind of rewind a little bit. With all the gun ban, fear, buying, and whatnot that everyone seemed to have started doing a few months ago, the availability of pretty much any of the AK platform firearms has been few and far between, to say the least. But they're slowly starting to trickle back into the local gun scene over here in Florida, at least. I managed to stumble into a gun shop a couple days ago and saw the SAIGA sitting on the used rack. And I asked the guy how much he was getting for it, and he was saying $550, and to me that's about $150 more than it would have sold for back in August or June of last year. So I checked it out, took a look at it. It's virtually unfired, which is a really good thing, especially when you're buying a used gun. You never know what you're getting into. But I'll show you, the evidence of why I think it's unfired in a second. But I basically started wheeling and dealing with the guy, and I told him, you want this five and change for it. I said, why don't we go 400? He kind of, he's kind of like, oh man, that's 150 off, and yada yada yada. Long story short, walked out the door with it for 400. This platform, like I said, is based on the Kalashnikov design. So make sure we try to keep it in frame here. You basically got your typical charging handle, and of course, let's safety check this first. Remove the little toolkit that it came with. Go ahead and safety check here. Make sure that we're clear. Nothing in our magazine. Clear. Safe direction. Okay. So basically, what we can see here is that it's based on the Kalashnikov design, which it's a proven system in that the tolerances are much looser on this gun versus an AR-15, so your reliability is going to be much better with an AK style platform. This particular platform, the SAIGA, these are imported by an American distributor. Name whatever one you want. They have to import them, and this design is actually, this particular AK is a very reliable AK because, it's Russian made. It's definitely going to be much better than some of your, and don't get me wrong, they're all good guns. I love all guns, but your Wasser 10s and stuff are going to be a little less on the quality line. What you gain in quality, you lose in some of the traditional AK characteristics. Like for example, magazines, it's only going to accept the SAIGA magazines. It's not going to accept your typical AK-47 magazines unless you do a SAIGA conversion on it. This one will not get a conversion. I may pick one up to do a conversion on to show you guys how to do a conversion, but this one will not. Also, it does not have the typical AK-47 pistol style grip. It has a standard buttstock, and the trigger is moved rearward to accommodate the ergonomics of an actual rifle style buttstock. So you would have to move the trigger forward, of course, and put the pistol grip on. It does have the ladder sights, which is nice. But if we take a look here at the muzzle brake, our muzzle brake is pinned on. It doesn't have the typical threaded flash hider / muzzle brake that you could normally put on a AK-47. So that's one of the assault style, I hate using that word, but one of the assault styles. You could, technically assault, it could be an assault knife, it could be an assault spoon, whatever, but your assault, like that matters in an assault weapon, but your assault style flash brake wouldn't be able to be threaded on there without a threaded conversion. But let's go ahead and break it down here. One of the characteristics I noticed on this one that's different from my Polish underfolder is that it's got the typical button release here for the dust cover, but there's a lock right here, which is kind of a nice feature. This is, I don't know if you can see it in camera, this is spring loaded. So you have to kind of depress the spring loaded lock first before you push in your spring to release the dust cover. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Spring here, pop the dust cover off. Stamped steel dust cover, it seems to be pretty good quality. It's not really a felt flimsier one. Some of the things also that I noticed with this rifle that indicates that it has not been fired before is the fact that whenever you fire an AK, it tends to, since it's piston driven, you get a lot of gunpowder and residue up here in the piston chamber. That creates a blowback action. It forces the bolt back rearward, chambers another round, and files forward again. But if you notice here, let me pull the spring, just push forward and pull out. There's no residue whatsoever on the spring. Really none, and you fire it a few times, you're going to get a pretty black spring. The other thing I noticed here, pull the bolt out and the piston, is there's no carbon buildup whatsoever on this piston. Again, with the AK style, you're going to get, of course good cleaning will take it off, but especially the guys around here, they're not the best cleaners, good gun guys that I've met. The actual piston itself, virtually no carbon whatsoever on it, and none on the actual piston head either. So that's kind of an indicator. Also, the bolt and firing pin here aren't really dirty either. So if any firing has been done, it's been either very minimal to none. First opinion on it, it is a very solid rifle. It doesn't feel flimsy in the hand. It's not very rattly. The only things on it that do make noise are, of course, the strap guides or strap holders, whatever you want to call them, to put a sling on here. But it's a solid rifle. It's a stamped receiver, of course. They're not milled. It is dimpled to eliminate mag wobble, but you're not using traditional AK-47 type magazines, so you got a little bit of a different mag anyway that you don't really have to worry about. Plus, these are 10-shot boxes that come with it. You can upgrade to, I believe Surefire makes a 30-round magazine. I don't have any here to show you. This is a fairly new firearm, but it's overall first impression. It seems to be a pretty decent little reliable carbine, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting it out to the range. And I will try to do, again, based on your feedback, I will try to do some videos here on it to kind of illustrate, how it runs and everything else. These bolts are hit or miss too. When you want to drop your bolt back in here, it's either you get lucky or you don't. So you got to kind of finagle a little bit, kind of wiggle and wobble it, and then push it forward. Setting the bolt and piston on this one is much easier, I've noticed, than on my Polish underfolder. So that's also a plus. But who knows? Once I fire it a few times, it may get a little harder. But yeah, guys, this is my SAIGA 223. Figured I'd do a little up close and down and dirty with it. There we go. Yeah, so very solid. Here's the safety. So if you were to, charge it, throw it on safe, it's not gonna fire. Of course, you point it in a safe direction, fire. So typical AK style, but some differences that don't quite make it an AK-47. Also, the fact that it doesn't shoot 7.62 by 39, so that would disqualify it also. It doesn't have that stomping cartridge. A couple of things that it came with here is a little, this appears to be a cleaning brush kit. Never even really took it apart. Let's see. Came with a little brush, little screwdriver looking gimmick here, and a little pin pusher. Looks like to push some of the roll pins and stuff out, I guess, I'm not sure. I'll definitely keep this in the safe in case I decide to sell it one day. That's the little kit that it came with. It also came with a little bottle of oil, as you can see over there. Put this aside here. Came with a little bottle of oil here, and this, of course, is empty. But I guess you can put some oil and keep the oil on you, and you can oil up your gun. This is just a little bayonet, AK-47 style bayonet that I went on ahead and parkerized. This was in really bad shape. The handles were all gouged up on it, and it just looked like crap. So I went ahead and did some work on the handle and on the spring, push button spring, and just kind of worked it around and cleaned it up a little bit, and just kind of parked it, and it looks really good. You guys will see this in a future video on the Polish underfolder, because that's what it resides on. We also came with the manual here, and on the manual it says it's a self-loading carbine. It shows the various models that SAIGA makes, or SAIGA imports, or however it works. I don't know the exact details on how they work, but they do write down in the back of one of these books, if I can find it, they underline what caliber the rifle is chambered in. They also write down your serial number, version 3, it's stamped. You got a signature and a seal, I guess, of the person who test fired it. Accuracy of fire is, let's see here, it says certificate of conformity. Looks like a Russian number of some sort. This is taped on here. Extreme spread of impacts when firing 4 bullets at 100 meter range. Accuracy of rifle is 127 millimeters. I believe that's a 1. If you can see it there. So, and then if it had an optical sight, it would have the optical sight model on there. So, kind of cool that it came with the manual. You know, I think it's a good find for $400. It's definitely a good investment. These things aren't going to go down in value. I mean, if you were buying them at, you know, peak pre-quote-unquote gun ban pricing, you probably would have. I think I saw one of them in the store at $762 and it was beat up too, for like around $750. But of course, if you bought at that time, you know, I don't want to call you a fear buyer, but you know, you got to understand that gun laws and all that stuff take a little bit of time to go through, and with the amount of gun support we have here in the States, I didn't think anything was going to happen anyway. But you know, you can't get lazy with it either. But I don't want to get too political with my channel. So yeah, guys, that's the SAIGA 223. Definitely, I think a good gun for the money. I'm gonna get it out to the range here very soon. I got a little bit of work I gotta do, but of course I'm gonna try to tape some of my shooting with it. Other thing I wanted to mention with these guns is they're chrome line barrels, which is excellent for anti-corrosion, and that's not really a feature you see a lot with your lesser expensive AK-47 platform style, Kalashnikov style rifles. So the chrome line barrel is definitely a plus if you're gonna be shooting a lot of corrosive 223, which at this point, just trying to find 223 is going to be more of a challenge than preference. But anyway, guys, that's my video on the SAIGA 223. I hope you enjoyed it, and please leave me comments below, good or bad, I don't care. I'll read them all. Pointers, things you want to see. Make sure you like it, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll keep them going. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to compete with any of the current gun channels because I do try to follow them frequently on YouTube. I love all of them. I love Hickok 45, of course. He's one of the guys that got me into this stuff, and I love watching, you know, Pete over at the Armory channel. He's got a great channel. He's funny as hell. Just love watching him. I love Nothing Fancy, Yankee, Marshall, you name it. All those guys. Brandon, FPS, they're all great. You can learn something from everybody. So, you know, why not have another little gun community type, you know, video set up? And of course, we're doing our review here on the old Mach 1, and I will get some more videos of the Mach 1 restoration coming up very soon. I have to order some push rods, get our rocker arm geometry figured out before I go any farther. So I really do appreciate you guys watching, and remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and we will talk to you later.